Chosen one, listen closely because this Saturday is going to bring a shock to your system that you simply won't see coming. I am not talking about the kind of shock the world experiences, the chaos or the fear that fills the news, but rather a divine interruption that heaven has specifically orchestrated for your path. It is time to realize that the universe does not always move in whispers. Sometimes it speaks with a voice that cannot be ignored. This Saturday, that voice is going to ring out with such clarity that everything around you will seem to pause in its tracks. It will not be a subtle shift or a minor change that you can just brush off as a coincidence. Instead, it will arrive with a weight and an authority that demands your full attention, marking a boundary between who you were and who you are becoming. You might have felt it already, that strange sensation that something is brewing just beneath the surface of your daily routine. It is like the air is getting heavier, or like there is a silent current of energy running through your spirit that makes your heart beat a little faster for no apparent reason. You've noticed the signs, haven't you? The repetitive numbers, the strange coincidences, and that nagging feeling of restlessness that keeps you up at night. These are not just random glitches in your life. They are heaven's way of preparing your internal compass for the shift that is about to occur. You are being sensitized to a higher frequency because the shock that is coming is not meant to break you, but to awaken you to a reality you've been too distracted to see until now. This Saturday carries a sacred alignment that has been carefully constructed behind the scenes for a very long time. While you were sleeping, while you were crying, and while you were wondering if anyone even noticed your struggle, the divine was moving pieces into place. The shock is the moment when the unseen finally becomes undeniable. It is the moment when the chosen ones are shaken, not so that they fall apart, but so that they can finally rise higher than the limitations they've accepted for themselves. Think of it as a cosmic alarm clock. It might be startling when it first goes off, but its only purpose is to make sure you don't miss the beautiful day that is waiting for you right outside your window. Before we go any further into what this means for your weekend, I want you to stop and take a deep, intentional breath with me. Feel the gravity of the words you are hearing right now, because this is more than just a message. It is a spiritual doorway. I want you to go into the comments right now and write down your warmest wishes and the blessings you've been holding in your heart. Don't just think them. Speak them into existence by typing them out. Whatever breakthrough you've been waiting for, whatever promise you've been clinging to in the dark, declare it boldly, and as you finish your request, seal it with the sacred number 7777. This is your way of signaling to the universe that you are in alignment and ready to receive. By writing those words and using that number, you are moving out of a passive state and into a state of active participation. You are signaling that you are no longer just a spectator in your own life, but a co-creator with the divine. When you align your personal desires with the rhythmic flow of heaven, you aren't just making a wish, you are activating a spiritual law. This Saturday is waiting for your voice to give it direction. It is waiting for you to step into its unique energy. So, as we move forward, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because you need to stay connected to this flow as the transformation begins to take root. Now, chosen one, understand that this Saturday will not pass like any other ordinary day on the calendar. To the rest of the world, it might look like a typical weekend, but for you, it is a definitive turning point. You may wake up and feel like the very atmosphere in your room is charged with electricity. This isn't your imagination. It is the physical manifestation of destiny pressing into your reality. There is an intensity coming that might feel a bit uncomfortable at first, almost like you're outgrowing your own skin. Do not try to fight that feeling or push it away. The chosen are often made to feel unsettled right before they are elevated to a new level of authority and peace. The shock you are about to experience is absolutely necessary to break you free from the old patterns that have kept you stuck in the same cycles for years. We often get comfortable in our chains because they feel familiar, but this Saturday, those illusions are going to start crumbling. Anything that isn't built on the truth of who you are will begin to fall away, And while that might feel scary, it is actually the greatest mercy you could receive. The divine is stripping away the masks and the false comforts so that only what is real remains. You are being liberated from the doubts that silenced your voice and the fears that made you play small in a world that needs your light. Think back to all those times in your life when you felt like you were right on the edge of a breakthrough, only to have it slip through your fingers at the last second. It's a painful feeling, isn't it? But this Saturday carries the exact opposite energy. This is not the day for things to slip. It is the day for things to finally stay. Imagine an anchor dropping deep into your spirit, securing you so firmly that you can no longer be tossed around by the opinions of others or the unpredictability of circumstances. This is your divine confirmation that the long wait was not a waste of time, and that every delay you endured was actually a form of protection. The most shocking part of this Saturday is that it will arrive when you least expect it. You might be doing something completely mundane, washing dishes, walking the dog, or just sitting in silence, when the signal from heaven breaks through. That is why you must stay alert and keep your heart open throughout the day. This isn't a day to dwell on your past or to repeat old mistakes. This is a day intended to put an end to your past and open up a path that is entirely new. For someone like you, a shock isn't a punishment, it's a revelation. It's the loud knock on the door that tells you it's time to move into a bigger room. You might notice some strange things happening in your social circle or your environment as Saturday approaches. People might suddenly pull away from you, or misunderstandings might crop up out of nowhere. You might even receive some unexpected news that feels a bit jarring at first. Please do not be afraid of these shifts. What looks like chaos is actually a very precise rearrangement of your life. The divine is moving people and situations around like pieces on a chessboard to ensure you are in the perfect position for what's coming next. The shock is designed to remove the voices that cannot go where you are going and to clear the obstacles you couldn't move on your own. This process will only feel painful if you try to white-knuckle your grip on things that are trying to leave. If you can find the courage to trust the process, you'll see that the shock isn't there to break you down, but to build you up into a version of yourself that is stronger than ever before. This Saturday will be a masterclass in what true alignment really looks like. It's not about you being in control of every single detail. It's about recognizing that heaven's intelligence is far superior to our own. There is a hand guiding your steps and protecting you from traps that you didn't even know were set for you. Nothing in your life has been random, even the parts that felt like a total mess. Every struggle you've endured and every disappointment that broke your heart has been leading you to this specific Saturday. You are being shown that you are watched, guided, and deeply loved by the Creator of the universe. The chosen path is rarely a walk in the park. It involves being stretched and pressed in ways that don't always make sense in the moment. But remember, every disruption is an invitation to go higher. This Saturday is the culmination of all those why me moments, finally giving you the answer you've been searching for. When the moment of shock arrives, you will remember these words and realize that you were prepared for this all along. You were warned to pay attention so that when the ground starts to shake, you won't be terrified. You'll be confirmed. It will be the ultimate reminder that you aren't just drifting through existence by sheer luck. You are walking in divine timing, and every second of your life is being calibrated for a purpose. The truth is that this Saturday has been in the works for a very long time, woven into your timeline piece by piece until the pattern was finally complete. The reason this will shock you is that it will happen so suddenly and so undeniably that you'll know it could only be God. Human effort can only get you so far, but when the divine breaks through, it changes everything in an instant. Sometimes the divine moves quietly in the shadows for months or even years until the perfect moment for the light to break through. That is exactly what this Saturday represents, the lifting of the curtain and the end of the silence. Do not mistake this disruption for a disaster. While the world sees change as something to be feared, you must see it as your new direction. Pay attention to the conversations you have this Saturday and the small events that seem out of the ordinary. Beneath the surface of these moments, a pattern is forming, and a message is being delivered directly to your soul. The divine never disrupts your life without a very good reason. It isn't trying to scatter your focus. It's trying to center you on what actually matters. If you look closely, you will see that the things you once viewed as massive obstacles are actually being turned into stepping stones. You are being repositioned for a level of success and peace that you previously thought was impossible. Think about the people who have left your life recently. This Saturday, you will start to see that those exits weren't losses. They were divine protections. Those opportunities that seemed to close in your face, those were redirections to something much better. The shock of this weekend is the realization that all the pieces of your life are finally starting to connect. An energy is about to move through your world that doesn't need your permission to change things. It will simply arrive, and you will have to make a choice. Do you resist the new, or do you embrace the flow of where you are being taken? Many chosen ones fall into the trap of second guessing themselves when their big moment finally arrives. They start asking if they are truly worthy, or if they have enough strength to handle the new responsibility. But the shock of this Saturday is that your success doesn't depend on how perfect you are. It depends entirely on how willing you are to trust. Heaven didn't choose you because you never made a mistake. It chose you because you have a heart that is willing to carry a heavy calling. This Saturday is the moment where your spiritual potential stops being a theory and starts becoming your lived reality. Think about how lightning works for a moment. It doesn't give a polite warning or wait until you're feeling comfortable to strike. It just hits, splitting the sky open and changing the entire atmosphere in a heartbeat. That is the energy of this Saturday. It is lightning, bright, loud, and absolutely undeniable. It might strike your relationships to show you who is truly in your corner, or it might strike your career to shake loose the paths that were leading you nowhere. Regardless of where the impact happens, the end result is always going to be a total transformation of your circumstances. Once the lightning hits, the old patterns of your life will simply no longer fit. You won't be able to go back to the old ways of thinking or the old doubts that used to keep you paralyzed. You will be shocked by how fast your life can change once your timing finally aligns with heaven's clock. You weren't called to live a quiet, insignificant life. Your choices have a ripple effect that touches more people than you know, and your presence carries a spiritual weight that others can feel. This is why shocks happen to you more often than they do to other people. You are being forged in a different kind of fire. You might sometimes feel jealous of people who seem to live very normal and comfortable lives, but you have to remember that comfort was never your assignment. You can't shape a masterpiece out of clay without applying pressure, and you can't refine gold without a lot of heat. Every shock you've ever survived has pushed you further and made you stronger. This Saturday is just another step in that refinement process. It isn't here to destroy your foundation. It's here to show you that the foundation you've built is actually unbreakable. You are much more resilient than you give yourself credit for. As the hours of Saturday pass and the initial shock begins to settle, a very deep sense of clarity is going to emerge. You'll start to see the connections that were invisible to you just a day before. You'll see that your prayers didn't just vanish into the void, but were actually being answered in ways you couldn't have imagined. The chosen are not defined by how easy their path is, but by how unstoppable their spirit becomes when they face the unexpected. You are reading this right now because heaven wanted to give you a heads up. This Saturday isn't a threat you need to hide from. It's a gift you need to open. The energy of this upcoming Saturday is going to feel much sharper and more charged than a regular Tuesday or Wednesday. While other people might just shrug it off as a weird day, you will feel it deep in your bones. Your inner senses will be on high alert, and you shouldn't try to numb that feeling with distractions or doubt. You are being tuned into a specific frequency so that you can recognize the divine signal when it finally rings out. Remember, you aren't just surviving this life, you are being intentionally shaped by it. You are marked for something great, and this shock is the proof. When the transformation begins, you might feel a strange mix of resistance and release. part of you will want to cling to what is familiar because it's safe, even if it's been making you miserable. But another part of you, the part that is connected to the divine, is ready to let go and fly. This tension is a sign that you are standing on the threshold of a massive life change. Saturday is not about erasing where you've been, but about reframing your history so it becomes the launch pad for your future. Everything you thought was wasted time was actually just training for what you're about to step into. Heaven often works in these shocks, because if blessings were always gentle and predictable, we might start to think they were ordinary. But when a blessing arrives through a divine interruption, it forces us to stop and give thanks. It forces us to notice the extraordinary meaning hidden in seemingly ordinary moments. This Saturday, a conversation you thought was minor might suddenly take on a massive significance. A small event might reveal a truth that changes your entire perspective. You won't be able to sleep through this awakening. You are being jolted into a state of total awareness. This Saturday will also act as a mirror, reflecting truths back to you that you might have been avoiding. The shock might come in the form of a revelation about a person you trusted, or a truth about a situation you've been misreading. While the truth can sometimes sting like a sharp blade, remember that heaven only exposes things to set you free. The chains you've been carrying are often just illusions made of lies you chose to believe. Once the shock shatters those illusions, you might feel a bit vulnerable, but you will also feel lighter than you have in years. Think of this Saturday like an earthquake that shakes the ground of your daily routine. Earthquakes are scary, but they often open up the earth to reveal hidden treasures or ancient springs of water that were buried for centuries. The shaking in your life is meant to unearth your hidden talents, your forgotten dreams, and the inner strength you didn't know you possessed. You might not have asked for this shaking, but you absolutely need it to reach your full potential. Without the tremor, you might have stayed asleep for the rest of your life, never knowing what you were truly capable of achieving. If things seem unusually quiet right now, don't assume that heaven has abandoned you. There is always a profound silence right before a massive move of the divine. It's the stillness before the thunder and the pause before the wave breaks. Use this current quiet time to center yourself and prepare your heart. When everything shifts at once on Saturday, you'll understand why the silence had to come first. You needed that space to breathe before the momentum of your new life takes over. Impact requires force, and force requires a moment of preparation. This Saturday is a moment of divine placement. The hand of the Creator is adjusting the coordinates of your life to make sure you are exactly where you need to be to fulfill your mission. You will probably notice that the people around you don't seem to feel the same weight or intensity that you do. That's okay. This message and this shock are not for everyone. They are specifically for the chosen ones. Don't waste your energy trying to explain your spiritual experiences to people who aren't ready to hear them. Just focus on what your own spirit is telling you and stay the course. The most beautiful part of this shock is the balance it brings. For every door that slams shut this Saturday, a much larger one is going to swing wide open. For every person who walks away, a new and more aligned connection is going to appear. The divine never leaves a void in your life. It only clears space for something better to take root. You are going to see this acceleration happening in real time. The old delays are over, and the new alignment is moving at a speed that will leave you breathless. It is an ending and a beginning happening all at once. So, as Saturday approaches, don't shrink back in fear. Stand tall and anticipate the good that is coming your way. Welcome the shaking and the shock, knowing that it is the ultimate proof that you haven't been forgotten. You were never ordinary, and you were never meant to live a small life. This Saturday is the signal that your time has finally come. You will emerge from this weekend sharper, clearer, and more powerful than you ever thought possible. You are chosen, and the events of this Saturday are going to prove it to you beyond any shadow of a doubt. As we wrap up this message, let the reality of these words settle deep into your soul. This Saturday is your rising. It is the moment when the dust of the past is blown away and the radiant truth of your destiny is revealed. You are not here by accident. You are here by a divine and beautiful design. When the ground shakes, remember that it's just the universe making room for your new life. Step boldly into your future, knowing that everything is finally shifting in your favor. Would you like me to provide a specific prayer or affirmation you can use this Saturday to stay grounded during this transition?